How did you come to this decision of stepping down from Khaitan and Company?
There's huge confusion among the number of Khaitan firms were there, both in Delhi and in Mumbai.
In your personal life, would you say that listening to your heart has made all the difference to where you are today?
So if you just listen to your heart without applying the logic of something, you may not do it.
You followed, I think, a couple of principles of goal setting. One, you got subconscious programming through your mother.
Right.
which we're calling a trick. ये drive कहाँ से है?
I think everyone has drive. It's just that they need to find what motivates them.
Let's talk about our next segment, which is the high-stake corporate environment.
Right.
And you were, I think, dealing with private equity, mergers and acquisition. ऐसी deal, ऐसी कोई transaction which you came across and you felt either that it's way above my level, but that really challenged you, or something which was very inspiring and that gave you insight that no other transaction has ever given before?
Yeah. I would say that it'll be a mix of it. I think every matter or every interaction ends up teaching you something. So for me, I think the early things which I learned, including from one of the partners of your firm. So I was a third-year associate, and small firms have a typical problem of partner bandwidth. We were a small firm then. So I would go and negotiate in deals where I don't have a partner and you have a massive. So it was typical a case where I get beaten up, for a lack of a better phrase, in a lot of situations. Because my partner is caught up somewhere, and then the other side, which has a number of lawyers, including some partners, road roll me. And that became a way of life for me for a good year and a half.
Oh, wow.
So that, I think, was a key learning. It gave me ability to become quite independent very early. But what I mentioned is one of the partners of your firm treated me with a lot of respect. I also was very mindful of what not to speak, and I think also made my preparation very well. See, when you're going and you don't have anyone you are in a way deciding your own destiny, and you're ultimately responsible for the final advice. Of course, the client is going to back to the partner, but in that room, I think preparedness is very important, and preparedness really teaches you a lot. So I would say that in my experience of working with all the clients on the M&A side, on private equity side, general transactional work, I think I learned a lot of preparedness. I think people often don't understand that negotiation is something which you can perfect, and you need to work on it very early in your life.
इसको आप थोड़ा सा clarify करेंगे. What would you mean by perfecting negotiation? I believe you're saying as a skill.
As a skill. As a skill, what happens is that a lot of times it is, you'll say something, I'll say something else. You'll say something, I'll say something else as lawyers. And that's I've seen a lot on meeting rooms. If you do elevate your practice, one, you have to work on your table presence, how you're approaching a matter, what is your level of preparation. And then there's scientific or good tools on how to negotiate better. And you need to work on each of these tools. That, okay, I have 10 issues to deal with, or I have 30 issues. The first year associate is going to give you every issue. Which are the ones which are important? Which are the ones which I really would take it? Which are my giveaway points? Which I consult the client before? Okay, in the first negotiation, I'm going to open up all 20, or I'll get to an agreement on only 5, and then find a way to open to the next 5. I think this needs serious preparation, and a lot of times you don't have to cut each other. The power of listening also is huge. So I think if law firms, law schools can actually double down on training people how to negotiate better, and prepare. And again, it can come through practice. There are tons of tools, and today's times there are tons of tools where you negotiate every day against yourself, hear your voice, and I think you'll be much better. So again, I learned a lot from these meetings.
If there is a 21 or 22-year-old Aakash listening to us, what would be like a crash course on negotiation right now? If you can take 2 minutes to give out, what would be the 3, 4, 5 takeaways that someone who's getting into your side of work, which is M&A, general advisory and transaction and negotiations, what would be a crash course on negotiation?
So I'll say that preparedness. Uh, Even if you know your document really well, prep, read, know it inside out. I think number one is preparedness, and there's no second level input to it. Number two is actually going very deep in what the counterparty is likely to discuss. So forget about your points. You have to really spend disproportionate time thinking about the motivations, and these motivations are very important because mostly people come from a point of logic. And as lawyers, we end up dismissing the logic of the argument made by the counterparty. So it's not illogical. It's just that we are tuned to dismiss it, and we need to do disproportionate, because then you're going to find a solution. And I personally don't like the whole deal making lawyers, because ultimately you're not deal making. You have to really advance interest of your own client, but there's way to get there. And I think the way to get there is really to spend a lot of time in thinking about it. And I think number three tip will be active listening. Is when someone actually speaking, don't have to cut. You don't have to cut for them to complete it. Let them probe, ask more questions, why they want something else, and you will get to the answer, because the more questions you're going to ask, the underlying surface issues will come, and I think solution is going to be likely to be quite solvable, but you've not asked enough questions. So I would just say three things for me, and then practice is the last part.
Practicing all of them.
Practicing all of them on fictitious cases. Get your two people to give some paper and just sit with your friend for 10 minutes. There are lots of exercise you can do around it.
Are people doing it?
People do it, but people pay a bomb to do it. So it's not democratized in the manner it can be. And some students and some young people can actually create a great business out of it, because the art of negotiation is taught for thousands of dollars. So and
whoever's listening, sorry, it's a great business idea being given for free. Please, someone can really use the art of negotiation as the next launchpad in the industry after listening to Aakash. Thank you, Aakash, for that free idea.
No, absolutely. The reason I tell you is that, so many CEOs, so many people in finance go to top schools, business schools for this course. Frankly, the people who need the most, apart from everyone, is lawyers, and lawyers don't have a course. Which law school? I don't know any law school which really teaches them. The principles like a BATNA, principle like a ZOPA, which everyone skills it over a period of time, but we are not taught at all. So yeah.
Wow. So other than negotiations, if I want to ask, what are the other skills that from your 2 decades of experience you've managed to translate into your real life?
Right. Other skills, I would say, I don't know whether the skill or a habit. I think if you were to think of it as skill
or a habit, also some routine building, which you believe that by spending 20 years in this industry, in this kind of work environment, my character or my being has evolved, and that has helped me in life.
Yeah. So see, a habit, I'll think of the skill in a minute, but a habit that I personally feel has really helped me over the years is starting my day early. And I'm a stickler to discipline, and the biggest disadvantage is at the cost of sleep, which I think is, I want to undo that at some stage. But for me, starting early has always been extremely rewarding. And this has been all through my life. So all 2021 year, I have started my day early. I don't like anyone chasing me for emails or a draft or the documents. I be that one chaser who's chasing the clients and everyone else. So I think that gives me, mornings are great. It gives you a lot of time to yourself. You can indulge in a bit of a self-care. You can get your routine. If you're doing a workout, you can spend time with your parents. You can make them an occasional call. So you get a lot of time because the rest of the world is sleeping. I don't know about Delhi, but Mumbai starts slightly later. So, I
think it's the inverse. लोग मुझे पकड़े ना सुन के, but my limited experience कि Delhi starts a little later.
Yeah. So morning routine is something I think people should follow if they are attuned to it and can do it. otherwise night's fine. What also morning routine does to you is आपको रात में थोड़ा जल्दी सोना पड़ता है, तो आपका जो TV है ना, और the content binging goes down slightly. I think also it helps, there are times for it, not that one should not do it, but it just helps you a little bit in organizing your everyday. And I think that's a habit I followed always, and I think it holds me quite well for the kind of work we end up doing.
Yeah. And that you're saying is also helping you to start your day early. In a sense, is helping you to start or be ahead in your life early for other initiatives.
Absolutely.
Like maybe for some family member or some other projects. I think what I hear from you is when you start early, you're the one setting your timelines. You're the one controlling your timelines rather than the world chasing you.
True.
And as a result, I think आप ज़्यादा achieve कर सकते हो than you set out to.
Absolutely. And even if you're not to, let's say, Rohan, think of achieving, you just have enough time to think, do more deep work. And I think a lot of time deep work is what you really need to do. I'll give you an example. मैंने practice करना शुरू किया. And I was fortunate that I got involved in some firm development work. So business development, so you start, you go with your partners. They'll say that कोई तो notes बनाएगा तो आपको opportunity मिला. आपको opportunity कैसे मिलेगा? You're making sure that आप रोज tie पहन के office में आ जाओ, whether the culture is there or not. Because it's likely कि किसी दिन को भी जरूरत पड़ी तो somebody who's dressed better will be called for it, so you dress better. Then you
I've seen that work, by the way. I've seen that work. Dressing better really works.
Totally. 100% work. And I think a lot of people take it for granted. But I think dressing better, the best you can. I'm not saying that you go and buy the best of shoes and more expensive stuff. No. A nice, clean shirt, ironed, is good enough. But you should do it because it gives you thought to the other person. He is taking or she's taking care of herself. It's likely to translate into other
his
things.
Work also.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that, and then, like for instance, in my firm, I started doing, by 2017-18, I was involved full time into our human resource while we had the full professional team, but bridging partner compensation, people compensation, talent development. I was full into it because I had that additional time to offer. Let's say, then I started our digital and innovation group. We went absolutely initial days of innovation, generative AI, because I had additional time to it. We made our full efforts into diversity, equity, and inclusion because these are very core themes. I wanted to do it, and it's just not for the namesake. You really need to give time. So ये आपको थोड़ा extra, आपको 1 घंटा भी extra मिलता है ना, तो you can do a lot of it, and that's the reason. That's one thing I highly recommend people to find a way.
So sitting in the management, let me ask this, where you have like a 30,000 feet view of the firm. And please correct me, how many lawyers today Khaitan has?
We are just around 1,300 lawyers.
So 1,300 lawyers hai. So from that vantage, I want to ask 2 questions. General questions so that I don't put you on a spot. What is the biggest mistake law firms are doing from a management perspective in terms of their own talent and their own people and client? And likewise, number 2, from a bottom-up approach, what is the number 1 mistake or lesson, I would want to call it, with the new generation who's coming into these law firms that they need to learn or they need to correct or course correct?
Got it. A very loaded question. I don't know the what's the right answer, and both will be.
But your perspective.
Just my perspective. I think from a law firm perspective, I think most of the law firms, number one, law firms are I think the most complicated business firm because they're partnerships, and whether the P&L sits with Rohan, you or me, or with our practice together, decision making is always spread out. You may call somebody a managing partner, you may call somebody a founding partner, etc., but everyone's voice really matters. Even if their voice is not matters to you right now, the person is going to find another opportunity and move on. So by nature, partnership is a complicated business structure. And that's one complication to deal with. The second, so that's, I think, the preface to it. I think the one problem that I think law firms are not dealing really well is understanding their changing talent pool. I'm leaving aside technology aside, but they are not doubling down on actually understanding that हमारा each segment का issue क्या है और हम उसको solve कैसे करेंगे. Everything is generalized because most of the partnerships and the people are sitting with partners. You are not having a holistic view on how it is. So let's say example, आज उतनी बड़ी problem है graduate hiring को, how to make them do matters most efficiently and how do they work. Same problem or different kind of a problem is with younger set of partners who have become partners, but they're not independent partners because they don't have a book of business. Even if they have a life issue, you are a partner, you don't have mobility to another place, you can't start it. So they have a different problem to have. Third is the old school partnership problem, which is partners who are now into their mid 50s, late 50s, early 60s, yet to reach that retirement age. They also are not able to advance because there's life to rainmake. How many rainmakers are there in India? I mean, सब मिला के clients ही बहुत कम है देश में. With even if everything growing, these are only 400, 500 clients. Every firm is chasing those.
Yes.
Then you have a number of partners in a firm. You rainmakers, आपके 10-12 नाम पे आपके हो जाएगा कि we'll all done with the rainmakers. So then there's huge set of aging partners. And institutionally, institutions need to find solutions to each of this problem. And I think they're not doing enough. And when I say talent pool, I'm including partners in that talent pool. And law firms are not giving enough attention to it. So that I think is number one problem. If you solve it, I think a lot of issues will automatically get solved. And for younger generation, I think, I personally feel that this new generation, and the reason I say it because now, I think differently, I've been wired differently, and people who are coming in from different campus to different firms, I feel that they are also need to give little bit more seriousness, and I'm saying I'm generalizing it, but seriousness to the profession as well. At times, what happens, at least in my view, is that a lot of people are very sincere. But when you contextualize it, Rohan, let's say take between you and me, let's take a guess. How many lawyers are there in India who are graduating? Let's say all the 10, 12, 15 national law schools. You all have great schools like Symbiosis, ILS. Let's take Jindal Global Law School. Amity. You take all of them. You have easily 5,000, 6,000 good school lawyers, apart from all the lawyers which are coming from everywhere. The top law firms are at best, in their best of years, are hiring 500, 600 people. Max. आपने सारी law firms को कर लिया तो आपके पास हो गया 800, 1000 से ज़्यादा तो हो नहीं सकता. The jobs that these 1,000 are getting, they're not valuing. Just every day, look at the number of people who are applying. And people who are getting that jobs, they're truly not appreciating what they have in hand. And I think that's a big miss. And I think I see it across law firms. It's not a problem of our firm. It's across the firm that they need to also rewire it and not think, you go to these blogs, how damaging these blogs are, the amount of pressure that law students create on themselves to say, Ron, you've got a job for 18. You know what? I've got for 18.4. And there'll be hundreds of scripts around it to say, why to do that to yourself? So I think that, a younger generation really needs to get hold of it. आप 18 लाख का value दो ना, आप किसी firm में जा रहे हो, मैं बोल रहा हूँ 15 लाख का value दो. आपको 10 लाख, Ron, you tell me, you're ready to, somebody comes and pays you 10 lakhs. 10 lakhs is a huge amount. You have to show some value to it. Let's take another example. आप hotel जाते हैं. We go to all 5-star. Let's say take a 5-star hotel. And for a one night you pay, let's say what? Say 15, 18,000. Your law firms are charging that 1 hour of time cost for that value. आपको एक 5-star में एक रात का कमरा मिलता है. आपको एक hair strand मिल जाएगा बेड पे. आप देखिए, आप फोन करके what you will do. And you're charging the same amount or slightly lower. For an associate time. are you getting that value? Just look at the proportionality to it. So I think a lot of work needs also to be done on young lawyer training to get to that position.
To create value. In fact, आपने बहुत अच्छा topic raise किया. Value creation में I have my own thoughts, but I wanted to check with you. I've personally seen studying, let's say, your career graph and many others, people who reach the top, बहुत loosely बोल रहा हूँ मैं, or who reach the echelons of success, they are people who give tremendous value, more than that they were asked for.
Right.
Have you felt? Okay, let me take a step back. आपने ये principle अपनी life में देखा है work करते हुए, that it's not that आपने मुझे बोला ये draft कर दो. You take 2 steps even beyond what the other person asked you, and that's what creates the difference between someone who's invited to come to the top versus someone who's not.
True. No, I completely, I couldn't agree more with you. And these are the people who contribute disproportionate value. Their value is so much that few of them can run 1,000 people law firm because their value proposition is so high. But you will find it very far in between. And that's the reason they're valued so much. A 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 an hour rate will not ever give what the value they bring about, because they have ability to solve a real deep problem which has no easy solution. And then the skill will come and the connections will come and everything has to put in together. You may have, Rohan, the better idea. But then execution of it also needs a lot, So person XYZ, who's a top name partner in a firm, will have the same idea, but he has the ability to solve it as well. He may have on friendly basis message someone and solve it. You may not be able to do it. You or I may have a really difficult time, and good idea can also die. So दोनों होता है. But I think that But it takes years and years of hard work. मैंने तो 21 साल में give up कर रहा हूँ, but people have given their lifetime to it to get to where they are.
इस पे मुझे आपसे पूछना था, which with your permission would want to get into the next segment. You said you have to pay a lot of price.
Right.
And it becomes not only physically demanding, but there are other aspects of life which get affected. I know from your personal journey, but I want to discuss in an open platform, in a very open, candid manner, what was the price जो आपको देना पड़ा?
I see that more as a learning, and I hope that people are more mindful when they're building their careers, irrespective of which profession they are really building in. So I had, like this whole conversation we were having, jaldi karna hai, getting to a goal post, making it young. This is not good enough. So I would always find faults on, that I have this shortcoming, I have X shortcoming. I don't have confidence on dealing in certain situations. And I typically, as a person, a lot critical of myself. And I'm sure a lot of people around it. So not that I'm only unique. Everyone is pretty critical of themselves. And that led to a point where to prove myself, I was doing a lot of work. A number of clients, number of matters, team was shaping up well. I think name in the market was building. So you think that fine. I mean, you live to die another day. You keep on one day as it comes, and you keep on more clients, more matters, more clients, more matters, and reward for, like I said, the reward for good work is more work. So you keep on getting a lot. And I think by 2015 or 16, I started to have, I think the first episode I had was I had crashed out, I think in 2015 in November. I had a panic attack and for a good 1 week or 2 weeks, I was flat out. I could not open my laptop, and I was sitting through, and I took a break for about 2 weeks. And I felt at that stage I need to do something around it. So I started doing workout. I did not consult anyone. And it became quite bad, I think, as time progressed, especially during COVID. And COVID, a lot of people struggled. So I also felt that, yes, it is, you're in the home, you're in a corridor. We had deal calls which are going for 60 hours without any sunlight, because you're in the room, and everyone thought that यही time है, सबको काम करना है. So everyone is working. And I think my second or third episode happened around that time, and I became actually more than the traits, I think it was my wife who started to push me to say, you've not started to be yourself. You are talking a lot in pessimism, and I think we need to consult a doctor. And सिर्फ denial में मैंने 3 साल निकाल दिए हैं, that there's nothing, just a stress. And by the time I visited a doctor, and I thought this is going to be one simple conversation, Rohan, my wife got the call from the doctor to say that lock up, grill the entire house. And we used to live in a higher floor. He said, grill the entire house. He can jump off any time. We don't make calls unless it's life threatening. So I'd become, I was so suicidal in my mind that I would stand in front of a large platform and just think about how beautiful it will be to die. And every form or shape of,
think like that?
I would actually think like that. And you start romanticizing the idea of every kind of pain. So I thought about all sorts of which is the best way, because I thought life is up. I can't do anything more in this life. I've given it everything and I'm a failure, and I had to restart it. And the only way to restart is to end it right now, and then it's possibility to restart.
Shortcut. That's a shortcut. The mind is saying that's the way out.
That's the way out. And you romanticize it. I would sit in a room, I'll darken the room, and I'll keep on thinking, okay, this will not work, how it will work. And I don't like to talk to people. You're extremely, and again, it's a psychological part of it, and it's treatable with the right medical advice. So then I started on the whole, it took me a lot of time to first, even reconcile to it.
Maybe accept and even understand that this is what's happening.
Absolutely.
Because I remember reading somewhere that even in terms of having suicidal thoughts, there are, I think, 3 or 4 stages.
Right.
Second stage is when you start planning it, like logistics of it. The first stage, as you said, is when.
Yeah.
Then what happened?
No, I think, because I have a young family, I think my daughter would be just about 4 years and my son would be 8, 9. And I was diagnosed with clinical depression and post-traumatic stress disorder. And I think I don't, it could be because of work, but it also got attributed to some of my childhood issues. So I had to go through the whole phase, but because I had a young family, I was very committed and focused I have to get it right, because more conversation I'll have. The first, I think what people should not do, which happened in my case, is whenever I try to speak to anyone, Rohan, suppose you are my best friend or my close friend, I will tell you that I'm not feeling good. You're likely to say, अरे आकाश तेरे लाइफ में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, डूइंग वेल, प्रोफेशन अच्छा चल रहा है, घर अच्छा है, you're on Instagram, you're going out every day, you don't have a problem. So don't give me this first world problems. It's only the person who's going through. So you've shut me down in the first conversation itself. Now I'm not able to come to you. I try to go to another person. I try to explain to that. So I think that shutting down happened with me a lot, where I tried to speak to few people,
perhaps unknowingly,
unknowingly, and that's the reason the sensitivity is very important. So people should be very aware of what to speak and what not to speak. And sometimes you just end up dismissing. So that all happened, and I think my family really supported me through. I had a very good, strong social circle, my friends. So they pushed me around, and then I thought that, no, I need to get out of it. Then the medication starts, and this medication is not easy. You cramp, you have lots of physical changes in your body, and that's a year-long process. You're on high medication, so you will one day something else. But I tried everything, so from naturopathy to acupuncture to yoga. But I was fully focused that I have to get this right. This isn't just a issue which is transitionary, and I'll get past it. Once I made up my mind, I got through it in about a year, 15 months from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's I think more than anything, this is a big win.
I agree.
More than the age 28 equity partner, I think this is a big life win.
100%.
So Aakash, if someone's listening to us, and I really, really hope they're listening to us, to identify and to create that sensitivity around in workplace. Let's say if a friend wants to identify कि उनका दोस्त शायद उस condition से go through ना कर रहा हो, what are some of the telltale signs which like people can spot in a firm? Because I know a lot of other firms, big firms, my old firm, which I call my university,
Right.
is also doing a lot in mental health.
Sure.
So what would be those telltale signs to figure out ki, yeah, this person might need some help. Please support them.
Yeah. So I think very difficult. Ron, as a community, we are not doing a good job on it generally, and a lot is. I think a lot of us are doing it to tick the box. Also, because it's a mainstream conversation about mental health. Few things I can say that अगर आपको कोई out of character मिल रहा है, one of people that you're working with, and you feel the person is slightly different or is breaking down a lot, or used to be extremely social, but it's a very stressed with work, or you feel, I think you should have a conversation, but you should not have a conversation or give a lot of you have to just direct to the right person. So professional help is what you need to do. That's my take. I've never tried to counsel anyone. I have tried to only be a hearing a partner. They can just confide, and you give them the trust and comfort. Beyond that, you really need to go to somebody who can help you. And at times, people should not. So this I've seen across that people, in the garb of humor, they make fun of it. So second is that ideally you should not make too many jokes about it. In fact, you should not joke about it at all. Third is staffing issues in law firms. To give the sense of safe space, Ron, I may say that mental health is very important. I have a colleague who will say that आप ये सब छोड़ो, मुझे पता है कि ये reason नहीं है. You're just shirking work. The confidence of 12 others around it goes away. So creation of that safe space is also very critical for all organizations to build, which is a real tough part. People don't even talk that honestly about their career progression. So how are they going to open up to you
about their deepest, darkest problems?
Absolutely. I mean, I had a long conversation during my time with my parents. They said, "Sach mein batana hai kisi ko, because you can just say you're not well." And I said, "No, agar whatever it is, there's nothing to hide. I don't see. I've just met the doctor, and they're saying it's a clinical issue. So why to hide?" But we had a two-day debate in our house whether we should tell as a family or
pros
not.
And cons,
pros and cons. Clients क्या बोलेंगे अगली बार आपका भरोसा करेंगे कि नहीं? The lawyer has a mental health issue. Would they give you work? I said no. It's fine. Not have such clients or not have the practice at all. So these are not easy topics, and they had a point. As a client also, I'll say कि reliability तो चला गया. अब client क्या देखता है? आप reliable हो, consistent हो, available हो, and assuming technically superior हो. वो सबके बारे तीन चीजें देखता है. आपके पास तो then you are really going down on some parameters. But I was blessed with great clients who supported all through. Some of them shared their own stories. They shared stories of their parents, their wives, themselves. I think it's beautiful how people, when they intend to work together, they end up doing it. And I think people, when they're authentic,
they transcend and they reach out for you.
Absolutely.
At that point of time, how was it juggling? Were you in the management at that point of time? Or slowly building? So how was it managing part of the firm, your work, your business, and toggling this personal battle?
So I took a 3 month sabbatical because those 3 months were intense medical care. So I took that break and focused completely. Once I got back, because it was a hard stop, I had to shut down my practice. So most of my clients and in our firm, typically number of people serve a client relationship. So it was easy to manage. It took me about 9 odd months to get back. And then during that period, I was doing 100% time on management. It also was great because that's the time we were, from the time we closed for COVID, we were a firm of about 600 lawyers. And after COVID, by the time we opened, we were a 1100 lawyer firm. So we had also tremendous growth. So it helped me channelize, talk to different people, different practices. So in a way, it worked out exceedingly well. And really, all my partners supported all through that 2-year period, almost 2-year period. By the time, I got back to practice, but then I always kept a balance between my management time at the firm and the practice.
No, just out of curiosity, I wanted to understand from you, Akash. Sometimes even I've read that either PTSD or clinical depression is something which mostly happens during childhood, normally at the age group of 0 to 7 or something around that. Now that you've worked on yourself and had the chance to reflect, does it feel like throughout this journey, one was trying to avoid something that just reached a precipice and said, come on, listen to me, address me. I'm the thing inside which is wounded in that sense.
Sure. No, it can, Ron, it's quite likely that it sits with you. Sometimes it speaks out to you, sometimes it does not speak out to you. In my situation, it spoke to me when my son was the same age. And because he was growing up, I would see him every day, and I'm very close to my both children, like everyone else. And I would see him every day, and I'll break down and I'll start crying, and I would know why I'm breaking down, I'm crying, and because it reminded me back to my age and how I became at that age. So in between, I had memories, but I did not have a breakdown. When at that stage, because my son was growing up, I had a lot more deeper connection with it, and it came down. So yes and no. If you know it, then address it. Don't wait for something to come about. If you don't know it, then it'll happen when it is to happen. But in both situations, don't take it lightly. Even if you have decision making to say who to tell and not, that's your personal decision. But right clinical help, going through the process, and I definitely believe trusting the process. अगर आपको डॉक्टर बोल रहा है 1 साल आपको थेरेपी करना है, आपको थेरेपिस्ट नहीं पसंद है, प्लीज शो अप. चौथे महीने में बंद मत कर दीजिएगा, because these are all important things to go through. Sometimes you just believe in the process and you have to trust the process. So again, that's one thing I recommend that people should do.
You believe in God?
A tough one. I love generally the stories around God, and not just our religion, but across. I'm spiritual as well. At the same time, I love horror movies a lot. So that's my favorite genre. I've never thought about it whether I believe in God, but it's like it's like that safety net. It gives you a little bit confidence. So yeah, in a way, yes, I believe in a power that will be somewhere if things were to go south. So yes.
Did that belief on that power, उससे आपको help हुई इस journey में, in managing your own personal battle or throughout your career journey in Khaitan?
मुझे रोहन उससे ज़्यादा एक्चुअली जिससे बेनिफिट हुआ है वो मेरे फैमिली सर्कल और सोशल सर्कल से हुआ है, बिकॉज दे हैड सो मच ऑफ लव एंड अफेक्शन फॉर मी एंड अनकंडीशनल. I mean, my wife, my parents, children were too young to understand, but lots of my friends, siblings, the entire ecosystem, that they made me believe, because I felt very worthless. They made me believe that I'm worthy of something. So I think it was a lot less with God, but more with what people around me. And I think one of the bigger learning is to always genuinely invest in relationships around you and have very, very good. वो दो भी होंगे ना तो भी चलेगा, but you need those two. You just need those two. You can't do it by yourself. On bad day, you need those two. And I know so many people who don't have any support system. And they struggle the most when things like this hit. तो गॉड तो नहीं आएगा आपके पास, आपको कोई चाहिए जो मेडिसिन ला के देगा, कोई होगा जो आप बुरे मूड में हो तो आपको टॉलरेट करेगा, वो टॉलरेट करने वाला कोई चाहिए जो टॉलरेट करके अनकंडीशनली करेगा. पेरेंट्स कर सकते हैं, पेरेंट्स के बियॉन्ड क्या है, बट हम लोग इस एज में जो पेरेंट्स आर ऑल्सो एजिंग, सो इट्स अ टफ वन, बट आई बिलीव अ लॉट इन ह्यूमन रिलेशनशिप्स.
You believe you were lucky or blessed to have such great people around you?
And
the timing of it all.
No, 100%. I am very blessed. I mean, I have just so much immense gratitude about everything. It's always people who have helped me where I am. अगर आप मुझे ऐसे छोड़ देते और आप दूसरे कैरेक्टर्स मेरे लाइफ में डाल दीजिए, I think life would be a very, very different life. So it's not. It will be, yes, some contribution because it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
But I think significant contribution is from my ecosystem all through. So they are contributing also for not so good things. Yeah.
So now this brings us to our last segment. It's a
Sure.
quick rapid fire.
Right.
So the trick is, whatever is the first thing that comes to your mind, you can spit it out.
Okay.
Okay. Top 3 skills an M&A lawyer or a transaction lawyer should have in today's time.
Number one, business understanding. आपको P&L, financial statement पढ़ना आना चाहिए. That's, I think, number one. If you're an M&A lawyer,
Yeah.
I think you need to be very, very commercially sound. Number two, I think you should have the ability to read the room and have the table presence. आपको समझ में आ जाना चाहिए कमरे में when you're entering a meeting or a call, and meeting is like a widest this thing कि यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, who are the actors, who are the characters, what their motivation are. You should have the ability to read the room so that your ability to, and I think third, very important to my mind, is the power of anticipation. आपको हर चीज पहले से सोचनी है. आप उसमें 2 दिन लगाइए, 1 घंटा लगाइए, again as a skill, but power of anticipation. So business skills for sure, ability to read the room and power of anticipation will be my 3 skills. पहला वाला M&A lawyers के लिए है, बाकी दोनों generally you can apply.
Biggest misconception about our legal profession?
That work-life balance cannot be done in this profession. I think it can be done.
Wow. Wow. One personal habit that helped shape or change your career?
Like I mentioned to you, the ability or the habit of starting my day early. I think that's one habit has walked me through the most part of my life. Hard work बहुत लोग करते हैं, but I think one. I know it's a rapid fire, but Rohan, I must tell you that self awareness भी बहुत important है. मुझे बहुत जल्दी पता चल गया था in a very early days that I'm not the brightest of lawyer. So there are many really bright lawyers. So what I'm bringing to the table, the only thing I could bring to the table is disproportionate hard work. तो मेरे लिए बहुत जरूरी था. So that my morning habits, other habits are all culmination of realization कि देखो कुछ लोगों they are very quick about picking, judgment पढ़ेंगे तो वो रेशियो तुरंत दिख जाता है, ऑर्बिटर मिल जाएगा, उसको अप्लाई कैसे करेंगे, रीजनल प्रिंसिपल समझ पे आएंगे, they quickly go to first principle, connect the dots. कुछ लोगों को इतना जल्दी नहीं आता है. मैं सेकंड कैटेगरी वाला था, तो मेरे पास सिर्फ हार्ड वर्क था. So that's the thing that I wanted to
That's why you say it's a story of an underdog.
Yes, absolutely.
One, maybe some book suggestions on building your life philosophy.
So one was Siddhartha Herman Hesse. But one book I really recommend everyone, and everyone's like have read it. So is the Stephen Covey's book, that 7 Habits of highly effective people. I think it's unbelievable. वो आपको इतने tools देता है ना, one book. आपको अगर book पढ़ने में कोई interest नहीं है बाकी, आप वो एक book पढ़ लो and just take the tools. I think it's a great way to start.
Yeah, it's one of my personal favorites.
Is that so?
Yeah.
I love it.
I can't get the 4 quadrant out of my mind.
Oh, totally.
And what I personally do is I maintain a notebook where I write my notes with hand also. In the top right corner, I always create that 4 quadrant.
Oh, is that
just so that as a reminder कि ये काम कहाँ जा रहा है.
Right. Wow. There's another very good book called The Trusted Advisor.
Yes.
Which also is great for, I think that's Stephen Covey's book. You can read it very early in life as well, as a young professionals or even law schools, and you can develop it. I think Trusted Advisor is when you reaching where you have interaction with the clients a lot. I think one should again create tools in both.
Wow. I know I've asked this question to you multiple times, but one last time. Advice to your 22-year-old self, perhaps straight into that camera. Think you're talking to Aakash, and whatever comes to your mind.
So I'll not to take myself very seriously. Number 2, I'll sleep better. And number 3, not succumb to peer pressure. Life is a lot more beautiful when you take the external pressures outside. If I was much younger, I would have given up so many of these pressures around me and truly followed what my heart felt at that stage without all these external pressures. So these 3 things.
Educated by the brain. This is my big takeaway.
Oh, yes, of course.
Thank you so much, Aakash. It was I can't even tell you what an enriching conversation this
Oh,
was. I've learned a lot. I've absorbed a lot. And thank you for sharing this with a very, very open heart with everyone. Thank you for coming to Beyond
Thank you so
Billables.
much. Absolutely loved having the conversation with you.
And I wish you and your family all the very best for the next 2 projects.
Right.
And if any way I can help, contribute, give you disproportionate value, I'm there.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
Thank
I'll
you.
take you up on that offer.
Thank you.
Thank you.